am Juanita, and you're a student of Ghana Christian International High School, and we urge you all to subscribe to His Love TV.
Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome back to His God TV. It's your social studies teacher, Rosmonata. It's been a while, right? Yes, but we are back to continue with our lessons. With our previous topic, or our previous topic, we were talking about self. Before then, I said we would talk about self-identity, but we started talking about the introduction to social studies. So today we want to delve into social studies proper by talking about self-identity. That is the first topic of social studies in senior high school. So today we'll talk about the part, and then when we meet again, we'll continue with the other half. So we will look at self-identity, and then how the individual can develop his or her capabilities of self-confidence. That is what we'll be talking about today. And then you know that self-identity is under the environment, as we have here. So let's continue. Let's delve into our topic. I hope you are ready. I believe you are. So by the end of our lesson, the student or the people will be able to explain the following concepts. That is self. So we will talk about self. When we are done, we'll talk about personality. When we are done, we'll talk about self-esteem, and then self-concept, and then capabilities. Where when we get to capabilities, we'll talk about how we can develop our capabilities. So, and again, as I said, so that our next lesson will be, where we'll end today will be how we can develop our capabilities or our self-confidence. Now we want to know the meaning of self-identity. Self-identity. When you are told to, let's say, write about yourself, I'm sure you talk about your name, your age, where you come from, the food you like best, where you attend church, and so many other things. Fine, that is about self. But you are talking about just one aspect of yourself, that is your physical nature. That is what we are talking about. But when we talk about self-identity, it not only talks about your physical being and how you look at, how you see yourself, your physical being, but it also talks about how you see yourself, how you understand yourself, how you know and feel about yourself. And not only what you feel about yourself, but also how you also relate with people in the society. So it's not only about you, but you as an individual, how you relate with others in the society. So how do you feel about yourself? Do you feel inferior about yourself, or do you feel superior? All those things come under self-identity. I hope it's clear and we can move on. So I went to the next one. We first talked about self-identity, where we said it talks about how you see yourself, how you understand, you know yourself in relation to the society. Now we are taking off the identity so that we are left with self. And what does self talk about? Here we are concentrating more about only you, but not linking it to the society. So it is your whole being, not only about your physical nature, like describing yourself, but also your psychological nature. And you know that psychological nature has to do with your mental state. And we can also talk about your abilities as well, what you can do and what you can't do. Another person will also say that it is the totality of actions and behaviors of the individual. So your physical nature, your psychological nature, and your abilities make up your action, and that is self. Again, we can also say that it is the unique qualities that make the personality of the individual. So we will also talk about personality into detail. And here we are talking about unique quality. So when you talk about self, we are talking about your psychological nature, we are talking about your physical nature, we are talking about your abilities, we are talking about your actions and your behavior, and we are also talking about your unique qualities. When we compare you to another person, what differentiates you from the other person? That is self. And here we are not linking it to the society as in self identity, where we said in relation to what people see you in the society. But here we are talking about you as a human being. That is self. So we are saying that even with self, we have types. We have types, and we want to talk about the types. So the first type of self we look at is the real self. The real self. When we say something is real, you know already. It is not false. That means it exists. Okay. It is a fact. It is there. So this is what a person actually is in life. It is a person's makeup at present. So how do you see yourself at present, or your state and at present? Are you a student now? Are you of a good behavior now? Or maybe are you developing your capabilities as to a certain aspect? That is your real self. So it is your makeup at present or at the moment, in terms of your character. As I said, are you of good behavior now, and then other qualities as well. So that is the real self. We are going to the second type of self, that is the other self. The other self. Other self. When we say other self, it refers to how or what a person will want to be. Will want to be. That means you are not yet there, but you are trying to be that person. Okay, that is the other self. So it's the mental picture that a person creates about what he wants to be in future. So this one has to do with your future, the things you want to achieve in future, your character in future, or the things that the capabilities that you want to develop in future. Let's say you want to be a footballer in future. That will form part of your other self. But when you talk about the real self, at the moment, what you are at the moment, that is the real self. So now, let's say you are a student, but the other self is saying that in the near future, you don't want to be a student, but you want to see yourself as a footballer or a lawyer or a doctor. So that is the other self. The third self we want to talk about is the ideal self. Ideal self. And this is what a person ought to be. It is the ideal self that enables a person to pattern his behavior in conformity with standards set by the society. Here, this is what society wants you to be, not what you want to be. When we started with real self, we said that at the moment, that is how you are. It can be your character, your nature at the moment. When we talk about the other self, that is what you want to be in future. You as an individual, that is what you want. But when we talk about ideal self, we are saying that this is what society wants you to be. And society, you know that society is made up of people. So the people in the society, the people around you, the people in your environment, they are dictating for you. They are telling you what to do. So that is the what a person ought to be. Ought to be. And we are saying that this one enables a person to pattern his behavior in conformity with the standard set in the society. So let's say you are of a bad character now. Okay, that is how people see you. But the society wants you to be of a good character. That becomes the ideal self. We can also talk about someone who wishes to be a footballer in the future. Your parents can decide that no, we don't want you to be a footballer. We want you to be a lawyer in future. So that one will form part of the ideal self, because here that is what they are telling you to be. So these are the types of self. Now we want to also talk about some terms under self in general. And the first term we'll talk about is personality. When we were defining self as a whole or self in general, we talked about personality, and we want to delve much into what personality means. So when we say personality, is the quality or assemblage of quality. So that means it's not only one quality, but more than one. That makes an individual what he is as distinct from other individuals. When we say something is distinct, it is differentiating you from your peers or other individuals. So what makes you unique? When we compare you to other individuals, what makes you unique or what makes you different from your peers? What makes you different from your parents? What makes you different from the people in your society? So that is personality. So it constitutes the following. We are saying that there are some things that makes up personality. When we talk about this one, it differentiates you from other individuals. What are we talking about? The first one, the first thing or the first element under personality we can talk about is your name. I am called Rosemond. Another person can also be, let's say, Rebecca. When you compare Rosemond to Rebecca, something differentiates us. And what is that? Our name. And that is our personality. So when you say name, it is the identification mark that identifies an individual and distinguishes him from other individuals. So that is your name. We can also talk about your physical outlook. So this is the physical appearance of an individual. It tells whether the individual is tall or short, fat or thin. It also portrays the color of your skin, the shape of the arms and legs, and other qualities. So when we compare you to an individual, let's say I'm dark. When we compare me to maybe someone who is dark, what differentiates us? Our color, our skin color differentiates us. We can also talk about I am short, maybe when I'm comparing myself to you watching me or another individual, maybe the person might be tall. So what differentiates a tall person from myself? Our height. So or me being fat, another person being thin, we are saying that that also forms part of our personality, and it is all talking about our physical outlook. We are still talking about personality. The next one we want to talk about is intelligence. Intelligence. You can be dull, someone else can be intelligent or know more than you know. You can be good at maths, someone else can be good at English. So that differentiates you. Maybe when it comes to mathematics, you are good, but when it comes to English, someone else is good. So when we say intelligence, it is the ability to think quickly and understand things easily, and it portrays whether the individual is intelligent or not. We can even talk about um, your capability when it comes to intelligence or personality. Under intelligence, let's say um, we send two people to the poolside to go and learn how to swim. One person will be able to get it quickly and then practice it quickly, but another person will also um, take time and study it well before the person can also dive into the water. So what differentiates you from that other person is your intelligence, and that forms part of your personality. Let's move on. We can also talk about social relationship, and this is how the individual relates with others. It is whether an individual is an introvert or an extrovert. So your behavior or how you relate to people in the society also differentiates you from the other. So here we are talking about you being an introvert or an extrovert. So when we say we first start with an extrovert, then we talk about who an introvert is. So an introvert is an individual who relates well with others. He always wants to be with others and will not want his presence and will want his presence felt. He is the happy go type. Such an individual is lively. So you see some people, they always want to socialize with others. Even the first time of meeting them, they will try to start something with you or communicate with you. Those people are extroverts, and that is their nature, and that distinguishes them from an introvert. Who then is an introvert? We are saying that this is an individual who does not relate well with others. Not that he doesn't like people, just that he can't start a conversation without an introvert starting it. That is how an introvert, and without an extrovert starting it. So that is how an introvert is. And he always wants to keep to himself. So if something is bothering him or her, the person would not like to share it. He or she would rather keep it to himself or herself. So we are saying that such an individual is shy, timid, and feels inferior. We are saying that sometimes introvert feels inferior because they are not the happy go type. Sometimes they feel that when they come close to people, people might reject them. That is their nature and that is their personality. And that distinguishes them from an extrovert who is the happy go type. We can also talk about character and the personality, which is basically the behavior of an individual, and it portrays whether the individual has a good behavior or a bad behavior. So, from the way you do your things, from the way you relate with others, someone will say you have a good character or a bad character. But sometimes it also depends on what the society wants you to be. Let's talk about maybe homosexuality. In our system, when we talk about Ghana, in a world, when we talk about homosexuality here, when people see you practicing that, they will say, society will say that you have a bad character because that is not what our society wants. But if you are not a homosexual, we see that you are of a good character in our society. I hope it's clear. So we are saying that how you portray yourself will determine whether you are of a good character or a bad character. And normally people determine whether someone is of a good character or a bad character. So that one also comes under personality. We can also talk about interest and the personality. What do you like? What don't you like? So here we are saying that interest is what the individual likes or dislikes in terms of social life. When it comes to social life, you get some people who are the outing type. They always want to go out and visit places, see people, mingle with other people. We also have people that don't like to mingle. They are more or less like the introvert type. We can also talk about games. There might be some games that differentiate that you like that another person does not like, and that is your personality. It differentiates you from another person. Someone might like football, another person might not like football, might like ludo or playing ampe. That is their personality, and that one differentiates them from the other. We can also talk about entertainment. Someone can entertain him or herself through maybe social media or watching TV. Another person can also go to the cinema hall or maybe watch a comedy somewhere, or when they see people together fooling, that's what entertains them. That is their personality. We can also talk about food. You might like banku, another person might like rice. That is your personality. It differentiates you from the other person, and all these things come under interest, which is also your personality. We can also talk about capabilities under personality. We will delve more into it because we will talk about how you can develop your capabilities. So when we say capabilities, they are the abilities of the individual, and they portray what the individual can do. Here we are talking about the positive side, what you can do. Maybe you are capable of singing, you are capable of dancing, you are capable of swimming, you are capable of getting high marks in mathematics, you are capable of achieving a higher grade. Those are the things that you can do. So here we concentrate on the positive aspect, and then we will talk about how we can develop our capabilities. That will be our last subtopic for the day. There are some terms that we have to know. We are still talking about personality though. under personality, we can also talk about your self-concept. Your self-concept. And what is the self-concept? The mental picture that a person creates about himself, and it's how an individual sees himself. So when you create a mental picture about yourself as being inferior, that is how you see yourself. You see yourself as being inferior, or you see yourself that you are someone that can achieve anything. That is your self-concept. That is how you see yourself. And somebody else will also see him or herself as a high achiever, and that is the person's self-concept. So concept, and we are saying that that differentiates you from the other person who is also saying otherwise. Still on personality, we can also talk about our self-esteem and the personality. So this is the way one feels about himself. It is a self-evaluating concept that enables the individual to see how important he or she is among others. So here you are seeing yourself as whether you are as being important or unimportant among other people. So here we are comparing you as an individual with other people. It can be your peers. So self-esteem can be high or low. When do we say self-esteem is high? It is high when the individual sees himself as possessing valuable characteristics or experiences. We have some people who feel that they can do anything, or when they are among their peers, they want everybody to know that they are also there. Okay, let's say me as a teacher, I'm in the classroom teaching, and then I ask a question. You be some people raising their hand, even if they don't know, they just want to try as much as possible to answer. Those kind of people have what? High self-esteem, because they believe in what they can do. But when we say you have a low self-esteem, that is, you see yourself as not worthy of anything. That means you see yourself as not capable of doing anything better unless someone pushes you. So if you don't get a push here, you are not able to push yourself to the higher level unless someone pushes you to the other level. So that is self-esteem. And then under self-esteem, we've spoken about you having a high self-esteem or a low self-esteem. So how you feel about yourself. So when you feel that you are someone who is person of value or person of worth, then that means you have a high self-esteem. But when you see yourself as someone who is not worthy of doing anything um, proper or getting something well or achieving something, you are a low achiever or you have low self-esteem. So under personality, we also talk about self-confidence. We are saying that self-confidence is more or less linked to self-esteem. It is the trust that an individual has in himself that he is capable of doing something very well. The terms are very similar, and you have to note all these things. Here, you trust yourself, even if you can't do it. When you talk about self-esteem, yes, that one is also there. You see yourself as capable of doing something, achieving something, but you want other people to see you. When you talk about self-confidence too, we are saying that you trust yourself that even if you are not good in a maths and you sit down and you study, you can be able to perform well. That is self-confidence. Nobody is pushing you, you are pushing yourself to get to that level. And that is self-confidence. Okay, so the last subtopic we will talk about before we bring our lesson to an end is how the individual can develop his capabilities or self-confidence. We spoke about self-confidence, where we said it is the trust that an individual has in himself or herself. And we also said that capabilities is what the abilities of the person or what the individual can do. We are saying that how can you develop these two? Sometimes some people need a certain push before they get to develop their capabilities of their self-confidence. So the first point we will talk about is guidance and counseling. Guidance and counseling. We are saying that sometimes some people are afraid to develop their capability because they know that along the line they will fail. So they need someone to give them a little push. So that is where the guidance and counseling comes in here. And which people can counsel you or guide you as to achieving your capabilities or developing your self-confidence. Your parents can do that. A trusted friend, not any friend. Sometimes there are friends that can bring you down. So a trusted friend, you can also go to a specialist, someone like a counselor, so that even assuming when before you even come to senior high school and you are choosing courses that you want to offer, you can get all those people to help you so that you can select the right courses and not make mistake. So that is guidance and counseling. We can also talk about personal initiative and drive. With this one, to nobody is pushing you to get to the top. You are pushing yourself. There's one boy in my class who normally says, "I can do spirit." So here you have that "I can do" spirit in you to push you to a higher level. Let's say you are trying as much as possible to swim, and the more you try, the more you fail. But you've decided that you will get to it will get to a time you pass that swimming course or the swimming practice that you are going through. So sometimes there's something in you that drives you to get to the higher level or to pass that swimming course, and that is the personal initiative or drive. So you encourage yourself. Nobody does it for you. You rather encourage yourself to go to the next level. We can also talk about you appreciating other people's views and perception, appreciating other people's views and perception of good role models. What do you mean when we say you are appreciating other people's views? So here we are talking about role models. So you find someone who has achieved or has gotten to the higher level in life. You can talk to the person, or if you are not that close to the person, at least when you maybe they do something on television that has been helping other people, you can watch those kind of videos just to encourage you to also get to the next level, because you see a role model is someone you look up to. So when you see your good role model or the role model telling you that this is what you are supposed to do to develop your capabilities, it encourages you to get to the next level. Your parents can also be your role model. Maybe your parents have been able to attain a higher height in life. You can ask them, they can be your role models, and when you are doing something bad and they tell you, you need to appreciate it and then change from it. That is the bad ones, not the good ones. We can also talk about role taking. Role taking. And when we say role taking, this is where you take leadership roles. Roles, what do we mean when we say leadership roles? Here we can talk about, let's say there are positions in school. We want someone to be a school prefect. We have people that are shy, that are timid, that can't take up those positions. Sometimes they can't even command their friends. But when they take that role or position, they are able to do and do it well. So that is under role taking. You can be a school prefect, you can be the class prefect. When it comes to your community, you can help organize maybe communal labor and all those things. And we are saying that the more you do that, the more you develop your capability or your self-confidence. We can also talk about you taking an identity. Taking an identity. What does it mean? Maybe a family name. A family name. Um, you go to a certain family and you see that people have made it big in life. Sometimes the family name on them just pushes them to the higher level. What do I mean by that? We are saying that the family name given to the individual will give him the assurance that whatever activities that he ventures into, his family members will provide the needed support and backing. Let's say your family members have made it big in life, they are rich, they can support you. So when you get the support of all those people, and you are also able to push yourself, let's say you are a family member of Despite, Just that name, you will encourage you to also make it, because he had made it, he has made it big in life, and that one will also push you to take on that identity and also make it big in life. We can also talk about self-awareness and knowledge of your capabilities. What do you mean by self-awareness? We are saying that the individual will develop his capabilities of self-confidence if he becomes aware of himself and his capabilities. And this will enable the individual to take the right step and make the right decision whenever he is choosing his career or he's embarking on a business venture. So you should be aware of your capabilities. What you can do, you should be aware of it. I'm sure you are all aware of your capabilities, and when we tell you to develop it, you can. Okay, let's say you are good in starting a business. That is your capability, and you are aware of it. So, when you are able to get hold of capital, you can get to the next level, or you can start the business and make it big. So you should be aware or have knowledge about your capabilities, what you can do. And then we can also talk about provision of a conducive home environment. What is the conducive home environment? We are talking about the people around you, especially in your home where you live. Are they pushing you to get to the top, or they are discouraging you? When we talk about conducive home environment, you get to a certain home and they don't encourage themselves to get to the next level. Some discourage you, some say hurtful things to you so that you don't move to the next level. But we are saying that when you get that conducive home environment where people encourage you to get to the next level, let's say you've gotten a pass in school, your parents encourage you, your siblings encourage you, you try as much as possible to also move to the next level, because you have the backing of people, and whatever you need, they also provide it for you. Maybe if it's books that you need to get to the next level, they are able to provide it and provide it for you. If it's money, they provide it for you. If it's paying your school fees, they are doing it. So that is the conducive home environment. And the last, I think it's left with two, availability. The last one before we get to the last but one also is availability of an enabling environment. Here we are talking about the society in general. We are saying that not only your family members should encourage you or should provide what you need, but also the society where you find yourself, the country where you are, the state where you live, or the area where you are. Okay, so um, if it's a school that you have to attend to develop your capabilities, there should be the availability of a school around. If um, if it's healthcare service that you need, there should be a hospital around. Those are the enabling environment. So things that you need for you to progress to the next level, the society should have, or it should be yes, when you need it, it should be in the society. So we are saying that when you come to the enabling environment, an enabling environment is characterized by protection of the rights of the individual. Yes, your rights also needs to be protected as well. So your right to education, nobody should restrict your right to education. And when you are not restricted as to certain things, especially with your right to education, you can move to the next level. So that is that about the enabling environment. The last but one before we go to the last one is also talking about education and training. You are good in maths, maybe you want to be a doctor, or you want to be a journalist, maybe you are good in English. Or do you sit in the house and develop your capabilities? Sometimes you need to, no, you need, not sometimes, you need to be in school, so that you'll be taught by others, you'll be taught by teachers, so that the doctor that you want to be, they can help you be. Courses that you have to read, things that you have to do, materials that you have to get to be the doctor that you want to be, can be gotten in school. And also training, yeah, when you come to school you are also trained. Sometimes you need the skill, especially let's say you want to be a caterer. Sometimes you need to be in a vocational school or technical school Ketra is vocational. When you talk about technical, maybe you want to be an electrician. You need that training just to be that electrician that you want to be. So that is that about education and training. And education is not only talking about the formal. We can also talk about informal. As I said, even in the house, your parents can educate you as to how to live your life in future. We can also talk about the last point. Then we end is self-determination. Self-determination. They're saying that if you have self-determination, you can develop your capabilities. What are we talking about when we say self-determination? You should have a goal or a purpose in life. That is self-determination. So by setting yourself a target or a goal, that individual gears all his effort towards the achievement of the target or a goal. So you need to have a target. Maybe in the next 5 years, this is what I want to achieve. In the next 10 years, this is what I want to achieve. And then you write it down. And then you start doing something about the things that you've written down. Not that you are writing it down and then you forget about it. No. You should set a target. You should have a goal in life. The next 5 years, this is what I want, where I want to be. The next 10 years, this is where I want to be. That is about self-determination. Your self-determination has to do with your target or the goal that you set for yourself. So you are planning for the future. And when you are able to plan for the future and you follow that plan, you will be able to develop your capabilities. Here ends our lesson on self-identity or the concept of self. When we meet again, we will talk about things that hinders people from developing their capabilities, and then we take it from there. Talk about other subtopics as well. So in today's lesson, we've learned about self-identity and then how an individual can develop his or her capabilities. Before I end, I want you to try your hands on this exercise. When we meet again, we will discuss. It is saying that examine 4 ways by which the individual can develop his or her capabilities. I've talked about it's more than 4. So I know you get when I say pick 4 and explain, you can explain. So try your hands on it. When we meet, we will go back and discuss it. So bye bye for now, and we shall meet again in our next lesson.